Chapter 1: The Moment of Arrival. The protagonist, Elier, stands before a strange, living machine. It resembles a massive clock, but instead of hands, it features indicators for the waves of time. He took a deep breath. 20 minutes, he whispered. Feel the moment. Suddenly, upon opening them, he realized he was no longer in a modern city. He was surrounded by vast, unfamiliar greenery, a stream flowing like a small waterfall, and the shadows of distant mountains. As he walked forward, the scent of the earth, raw and damp, filled his nostrils. A small group of tribal people approached him. They were adorned with bird feathers, their bodies painted in various patterns. At first, Elier felt a flash of fear, but the peace in their eyes gave him courage. "Who are you?" an elder asked, placing a hand on his chest. "I am Elier. I come from far away," Elier said softly. The elder nodded. "A man from afar? Do you wish to hunt with us, or only to observe?" Elier simply nodded. He understood that in this era there was no enmity, only empathy. In the distance, he saw children fishing in the river and women cooking by the fire. This harmonious life with nature touched his heart. Detailed description: food, natural fruits, small fish, roasted over fire. Clothing, made from animal skins and vines. Ceremonies, dancing, singing, and storytelling. Elier felt how this lifestyle had sustained humanity for centuries. He began to learn how deeply nature and humans depend on one another. Chapter 2: Colonial America. In the next moment, Elier floated through a hazy light. Opening his eyes, he saw small huts on the hills and ships docked at the riverbank. It was Jamestown, 1607. "Welcome to Jamestown," a young pilgrim said in a low voice. Elier looked on in wonder. The youth explained that they had come to the New World in search of religious freedom and opportunity. The people worked tirelessly, digging the soil, building houses, and unloading cargo from ships. But there was also a shadow of helplessness in their eyes. One evening, Elier attended a meeting where they discussed the harshness of British rule. "We want freedom, but can we survive on our own?" another questioned. Elier felt the mix of courage and hesitation within them. They knew the New World offered opportunity, but the risks were equally great. Chapter 3: The Revolutionary War. Suddenly, the waves of time swept Elier to 1775. He saw a small New England village engulfed in flames. Soldiers from the North and South were clashing. Under George Washington's leadership, the Patriots fought with grit. Elier stayed on the battlefield but kept himself safe. He saw how many were ready to give their lives, dreaming of a new nation. During the signing of the Declaration of Independence, Elier felt that the words were not just on paper, but etched into the human soul. "All men are created equal," he whispered. The words touched his mind like a mercury gauge of time. Battlefield description: a mixture of smoke and dust, swords, muskets, and shields. The courage, failure, fear, and friendship of the soldiers. Chapter 4: Birth of a New Nation. In 1789, Elier witnessed the birth of a new state. The Constitution had been drafted. George Washington was the first president. Standing near the stage, the protagonist overheard the people's debates. They spoke of the government structure, how laws would be made, and what the rights of citizens would be. Elier felt the immense weight of power and responsibility. Humans were not just free, they had to understand their duties. Chapter 5: 1800 to 1860, Expansion and Crisis. Elier was now in the era of the Louisiana Purchase. America was expanding westward. New cities, new frontiers, the Indian Removal Act and the displacement of indigenous people, slavery and growing social tension. He entered a city undergoing industrialization. Factory smoke, the shouts of workers, and child labor met his eyes. He realized how complex the conflict between national progress and human rights truly was.
Chapter 6, Civil War and Reconstruction, 1861 to 1877. Ilir dived into the waves of time once more. He opened his eyes to a battle between northern and southern soldiers. The roar of guns, the gallop of horses, and the screams of men filled the air. He ducked behind a tree. A young soldier looked at him, eyes filled with fear and tears. I just want to live," he said. Ilir felt the fragility of life. He observed the dust, fire, and crowds of wounded men. Once again, he felt the depth of history. War is not just politics, it is a human story. Eventually, he met Abraham Lincoln, who was reading a draft of the Emancipation Proclamation. Ilir saw that the words were more than paper, they were a promise of liberation for millions. Detailed scene. Light in a room as Lincoln reviews the draft. Hope and fear on the faces of every soldier. Post-war reconstruction. The spread of education, voting rights, and the rebuilding of the South. Chapter 7. Industrial Revolution and Modernization, 1878 to 1914. The next moment, Ilir arrived in an industrial city. Haze, iron foundries, and wheels turning like clockwork. People were building cars and trains. He saw citizens learning new technologies. Immigrants were arriving with new languages and new dreams. A worker told him, "We work here to build a future, but life is hard." Ilir understood that industrialization brings opportunity, but also creates social crises. Child labor, poverty, and labor movements were all parts of history. Chapter 8. World Wars and Global Influence, 1914 to 1945. Ilir opened his eyes to the era of WW1. Ships, planes, and the march of soldiers. He saw people fighting not just for their country, but for world peace. Then came the Great Depression. Poverty was visible everywhere. Families stood on street corners waiting for food. Ilir realized that history is shaped not only by war, but also by economic crises. During WW II, he witnessed Roosevelt's speeches and the conflict with Japan. He noted how every decision could change the fate of millions. Chapter 9: The Cold War and Social Change, 1947 to 1991. Ilir moved into the Cold War era. Competition with the Soviet Union, the space race, NASA, the Apollos, and Neil Armstrong's footsteps. The Civil Rights Movement, Martin Luther King Jr.'s speeches, protests, and peaceful demonstrations. He saw how people struggled for peace and equal rights, protests in the streets, and lessons of equality inside schools. Chapter 10: Modern America, 1991 to present. Suddenly, Ilir returned to the present day: skyscraping buildings, the honking of cars, the internet and mobile phones. He saw the technological revolution, globalization, and social networks. He witnessed the security measures after 9/11 and the impact of subsequent wars. Political movements and social changes were everywhere. Ilir realized that no matter how fast history changes, human hope, courage, and dreams remain constant. Conclusion: he powered down the time machine. He had intended only to learn history, but he ended up feeling it as a living story. The lesson: history is not just a sequence of events, it is the story of humanity. If this story made you think, if you enjoyed this journey through history, then go ahead and give this video a like right now. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments because your comments inspire the stories we tell next. Share this video with friends who love history, who want to know how America was truly born. And for more deep, simple, and cinematic history stories, subscribe to our channel now. History doesn't end here. Many more chapters are yet to come.